Hello and welcome back to the Expansion Chamber, episode 16, our first episode of the new year. We are just back freshly from SHOT Show 2024. Saw all the cool new guns and cool new stuff. I'm joined here with Brett of Nightwood Guns. Brett, why don't you introduce yourself?
Hello, I'm Brett, YouTube channel Nightwood Guns, and good times at SHOT Show.
Oh, yes. So, Brett, what's something, well, just to start, what's something you saw at SHOT Show where you're like, you know what, this is actually kind of interesting. This is something I kind of want to take a look at, maybe get one for the channel, something like that.
I mean, 100% the Stealth Arms Platypus. And, the main reservation with that right off the bat was the grip texture. And getting to feel the new grip texture, which was too sharp, but knowing that they're going to bring it down a little bit if you put it in the notes. And then they're eventually going to have an offer on the website to take that cactus, as you put it, the cactus texture and bring it down a little bit. The grip texture solves all my problems. And the bull barrel is a nice addition. To me, like my reservations with the Platypus were put aside with their new announcements for SHOT. So that was it.
Awesome. I was also pretty impressed by the Platypus. So the cactus, that was actually the name. There was this older gentleman at the booth, and he said we're calling it the cactus. We ended up calling it, so that's what I'm referring to. I mean, it feels like a cactus.
I thought you came up with it. You should have just taken credit. No one would have known.
I like to be honest, but no, whatever cactus it is that I always torture in your YouTube shorts, it'd be like it's like grabbing that basically.
Pretty much.
Because that thing is. Like it's too like I love an aggressive grip texture. Brett loves an aggressive grip texture. We're both sadists, but that is a little bit too much.
That's like the Jerry Michalik grip texture. Like you would need calluses upon calluses for 50 years.
Yeah.
And then it would be perfect. It wouldn't move.
No. So I think that's I don't know what they say it's for competition shooters. I feel like that's a bit much even for competition shooters, but I don't know. I don't shoot competitions that much, so maybe you have to really hate your hands for that. Is there anything you saw at SHOT Show where you're like, this is, I mean, there's a lot of gimmicks and stuff. Is there anything that stood out in your mind? I'm like, this is kind of like a silly thing that you saw.
It's funny. Yes, lots of things. But for some reason, the first thing that popped in my mind was the Daniel H9. I love everything about the way it feels. It's just, I don't know. It doesn't feel real to me yet, I guess. Like the trigger, super heavy on all the show guns, like to the point of being like, why? It's, you're trying to mimic the best parts of a 1911. And yeah, you have the, straight back trigger pull of a 1911, but nobody wants an 8-pound trigger pull on a 1911. So it made me question the gun altogether. I don't know if it's a gimmick. I don't think it shoots as well as they think it does, but I am reserving judgment. I'm going to try to get one for the channel. That way I can either eat my words or at the very least just give my honest opinion of how it shoots, because the proof is in the pudding.
Yeah, I might be able to get my hands on one sometime sooner than later, and put some rounds through it and get an idea. Because I didn't even get a chance to go to the Daniel booth. It was both of our first shot, and oh my god, the absolute chaos and insanity. I have no idea how you went to as many booths. I couldn't keep up with you. The guys with Good Guys Guns and Ammo I was with, they were going around fast, but you were going like a whole other pace.
Yeah, I mean, and the thing is, I was going fast, and like I was making connections, meeting people, learning everything about each gun that came out, while also getting videos out same day. So I was literally working like 18 to 20-hour days.
I was dead by the time I'd get back to the hotel. I didn't want to walk. I didn't want to do anything. There was parties we were going to go to. We didn't go to any of the parties.
Yeah.
So I have no idea how you did it, but it was very impressive to see you putting out videos. And meanwhile, I just put out one measly video at the end of SHOT Show.
No, you did fine. You could have done nothing. You could have done like everyone else and just sat in your basement and whined about other YouTubers. But you went out there, you did something, you got it out. That's more than most people could say. Well,
I appreciate it. For me, so I don't know if you saw it. It was in the basement floor. There's this guy selling basically what looked like a deep fryer for your handgun. So it's a gun cleaner, but it literally looks like a fry basket that you put you disassemble your gun, you put it in there, and it drops in. And I think it uses like hydro pressure, whatever, like some advanced. But it was the silliest thing I've ever seen, and it was right next to, I don't know if you saw it. It was the second stage malfunction bullets or whatever.
I did not spend much time in the basement. There was Stealth Arms and Shadow Systems were down there.
So I went down there for Stealth Arms, Shadow Systems, and then VP Armory. Check out their stuff. And then we went to, I want to say Lucas Gray, but that's not it.
Jacob Gray
Firearms down there as well. So there's a couple like newer. I know I like to check out when I go to any sort of show. I go to like the place where like it's all the cheap booths.
Yep.
So that way, if there's some sort of new upcoming company that, doesn't have a whole lot of business and is newer and might have an innovative technology, you can check it out and you can laugh at all the garbage that
Yeah.
people are trying to sell in the industry. But no, um, it's a dummy round that you load into your gun and it causes like a double feed basically,
Yeah.
which is, I mean, that's interesting. Like I think it's unnecessary to cause that sort of malfunction. Like, you know, kind of reminds me of that commenter you have on your video YouTube videos.
No, yeah, which one? Yeah, all of
Um,
them.
yeah. So maybe we'll get into that later. But no, there's so much stuff at SHOT Show where you're like, who's gonna buy this? Like you almost feel bad because it's definitely someone who's like, trying like a hardworking person. You see these people have their small businesses, and you look at their product, and I'm like, you instantly just know like that's that. I mean, there's some of them where I'm like, people are gonna buy that because it sells to the market of like FUDs or
Right.
people who think that that's something important. But a lot of them you look at and you're like, yeah, no one's gonna buy that.
Well, I will say, so pretty much I would like post a video and then read all of my comments and see people be telling me to check out certain booths. So I was kind of following my subscribers and what they wanted to see in those comments. And for probably the most disappointing one was Meprolite. So they wanted to see the Meprolite red dots. So I went over there.
Now?
Yeah, so that was their thing this year is they had like closed emitter, open emitter, all that kind of stuff. And
they buy Alien Gear?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I'm not
Maybe
sure.
I'm thinking of another shitty.
Because Meprolite did the night sights for a long time.
Yeah, because I remember the Meprolite sights. Like 365 came out with the Meprolite sights. So I looked at it once and I'm like, this is trash, and put it away.
Yeah, so the sights, they just felt kind of cheap. They're all manufactured in the Philippines, and I love my Philippines people out there. You guys are awesome. That being said, I don't know, build quality. Hollow Sun is just so much better for the money. I just don't know why you would buy a Meprolite over a Hollow Sun. I guess that's where I'm at. It's another option. We'll see how it holds up. Just the build quality, the housing felt kind of cheap, and then they also had an ultra super budget model that was manufactured in China. And I don't know. Looking at the mounting systems and stuff, I don't know. I just didn't. I would take Hollow Sun
innovative. I'm assuming.
No, basically just copying what everyone else is doing.
I mean, that's as soon as I heard Meprolite, I just assumed it'd be garbage because when I first saw Meprolite sights, for like 5 seconds, you think this is a cool idea, and you look at it and you realize it's the worst idea you've ever seen. I've never shot a gun with Meprolite sights that actually hit where you're aiming. So I even like 365s, Glocks, they're just all just crap. So
yeah, I don't know. Mepros are fine. I haven't had a problem with Meprolite night sights. They're oh god, I need to be careful with the word fine.
Well, I mean, not their whatever those sights are, where it's like the old rear sight only or whatever.
Oh, those ones. Okay,
the red dot.
I know.
That's I didn't even know they made anything else. That's the only thing I knew they make.
No, they make like three dot night sights that are fine.
Oh, okay. I only knew of those. When I hear Meprolite, I think of those, and that was like the 365 anti-snag was the first time I saw those.
Right.
And I'm like featuring Meprolite sights, and I'm like, this is garbage.
They call it like the bullseye reticle or something.
Yeah, whatever. It's trash. Yeah. But yeah, we both went to Jacob Gray. That was interesting.
Yes, Jacob Gray was I think interesting is the word to use, because I think there's so much potential there. Like they're using good materials, good process for manufacturing,
like really high end. Think like for anyone who doesn't know who they are and wants the quick rundown, think like the stuff you see from like Atlas and Nighthawk in terms of how they machine stuff.
Yeah,
like they were like an aerospace company before.
Yeah, the only issue is just understanding the needs of a modern shooter.
Yes.
It's like I got into a bit of an argument about their co-witness. They were insisting that it was lower third co-witness, and it just looked like absolute co-witness to me. I think it was absolute co-witness with an RMR. If you would have put an SRO or an HD on there, I think it would have been lower third. Yeah. But it's like, you got to have as low of a co-witness as possible. Otherwise,
their sites were like,
and they were just insisting over and over and over again that they were lower third, and I just didn't see it. And then the grip texture is the other thing.
The side panels of the gun was just completely slick.
Honestly, their make or break is going to be if a company like Handle It Grips partners with them and releases stick-on grip texture, because I know they were defending it quite a bit, which I mean, I don't blame them, but literally the grip texture on the side of it was smooth, non-existent.
No, I felt it, and it, especially like because it was hot in the basement, so I was getting sweaty, and like the gun was just slipping in my hand, just holding it.
Yeah, and even the texturing on the front and the back wasn't really there. So it's one of those things that mean you can't shoot the gun. Absolutely not. It's just when you're building a gun like that and you're competing in that double stack 1911 category, you need to bring it. And having no grip texture and having absolute co-witness, they're going to learn. I genuinely believe they're going to listen, they're going to learn, and they're going to put out a very competitive product. It's just probably going to take them a little bit of time. So I say keep your eyes on them for sure.
The quality felt good. And the sight issue for me isn't a make or break. Do I prefer the lowest co-witness possible? Sorry. Absolutely. But it's not a huge deal to me. The safeties, which I believe they said they're changing, right?
Right.
The safeties on them were like digging. It was so uncomfortable.
They've already taken care of that.
But the other thing is, to me, honestly, a slick side like that almost to me makes it unshootable. Like you need something, like there's no friction. And because it's aluminum, it's not polymer, there's no way to even gain traction. I'm not trying to shit on them. They're really cool dudes. I like their rifles as well. I checked out their rifles.
Yeah.
But
I don't mind a gun. Like I can shoot any gun, grip texture or no. It's just grip texture is always a preference, right? Like Glocks have crap grip texture. I can shoot a stock Glock just fine. It's just I would rather have it than not have it if I have a choice, because what it boils down to is your grip, right? And if your grip is good, and I mean you have the grip strength, even a smooth-sided grip is going to be fine. It's just when you start introducing other things like sweat, like a really hot day where things kind of get out of your control, that the lack of a grip texture really starts to show itself. Or if you don't have insane grip strength, it'll just slip around. Like you put it, my wife's hands, for example, just going to like slip and slide under recoil because she doesn't have the actual power to crank down on it.
Oh, be careful. Your wife apparently causes malfunctions on guns, according to the internet.
Oh, and only one of them ever. That's the interesting thing.
No, that honestly, I want to touch on that. Like it's SHOT Show adjacent.
Yeah.
So Brett made a range day video. He made a video basically every day he was at SHOT Show. Made a range day video, and at the range day video, they had a Glock 49. Right, that's the I can't keep track anymore. A Glock 49, and it's a Glock 19 grip with a 17 slide, which whoop-de-doo. And it wasn't like cycling correct. It had a Steiner MPS on it, and like even when he's shooting it, you can see it's like not cycling correctly. And then when his wife shoots it, it just starts it like failures to extract or failure to feed or whatever, and then it double feeds and it goes to shit. Yeah,
and you can see in my hands that it's like just barely not short stroking. Like it's just clearing the shell casing enough to kick it out. Via the ejector's kicking it out. The extractor claw has it. Ejector kicks it out. It's just barely clearing in my hands. And then you put it in someone's hands who doesn't like white knuckle their gun, and it just all it takes is just a little bit of give, and it fails to cycle. So that really upset some people, and everybody just.
And that's it's like there's fanboys for every group of firearm ownership, but I think it's these like diehard fanboys for whatever group it is. It's just. I understand if you want to say you're doing something wrong and that's why the gun has an issue. I get those comments all the time. Fine. Sometimes I am doing something wrong. Sometimes the gun just sucks. This is far more a situation where it turns into like those ad hominem attacks.
Yeah.
Where they're being like absolutely like disgusting.
Yeah, it was the rage mob kind of came after me. And
let me see if I can find here. Let me just find this.
That's 10 mil. Then it should be next. Yeah, there it is.
There you go. Yeah, like the casings are just like dribbling out.
Yeah, and you can see if you watch how far the slide is coming back, it wasn't really coming back all the way. I'm actually surprised it locked open. But I could definitely feel it while shooting it. And like, I'm sorry, a gun should not malfunction when being gripped like that. That's unreasonable. Because if you look at her grip, she's all the way up into the beaver tail. She's all the way up, nice high grip. She has locked wrists, and it's just enough give that it doesn't cycle. The slide doesn't go all the way to the rear, and it fails to feed.
Yep.
And because it's like, if you think about it, if you're running that closed emitter Glock in any kind of serious situation, whether it be for self-defense or for duty, and you need to shoot one-handed, you need to shoot while injured, you need to shoot from an unconventional position. If that's all it takes to trip it up, then that is not perfection. And what a lot of people don't know is, one, in the same video, she shoots a Rock Island Armory 5.0E, cycles perfectly. And in my follow-up video, she shoots a Matrix Arms Glock clone with an optic on there, just like this, cycles perfectly. And then I even put in there, just so people could see, a tiny little baby 1911 and 45 with a ported barrel. Yeah, the Rock Island is going to be probably in the first half of the video.
What is her shooting the other one in this video?
Yeah,
or another video?
Yeah, there's one of her shooting in this video. The Rock Island. It should be the last one of the. It should be towards the halfway point.
I saw something right here, I think.
Oh yeah, right. Oh, so that's the P365 with the Radiant Ramjet afterburner. Cycles perfectly.
There's your communist star right there.
Yes, my communist. People thought that was a tattoo.
I know. I looked in the comments and I'm like,
yeah.
I now that I do this more, I can understand it, but it's still, or at least it doesn't surprise me.
Yeah,
but like that was a weird one.
Yeah,
that's not even the proper Soviet star for one.
I know. I don't even know. But yeah, then I even in that latest video had her shooting that tiny Rock Island Armory 45 ACP 1911 with a ported barrel that is notorious for malfunctioning, and she cycled it perfectly. Again, we were there for 7 hours. She shot every single semi-automatic pistol available at range day, and they all cycled in her hands. Same grip, same stance, except for the G49. Because people were saying it worked in your hands, but not in hers. Let's do the math. Okay, well, let's do the math. Every single gun at SHOT Show for over the course of 7 hours worked in her hands, except the Glock 49.
I think this is...
Yeah, so there's the Glock. So there's the Matrix Arms. Look at cycling.
That thing looks stupid, but anyway.
It is stupid, yeah. But and then here's that little shorty ported 1911 that obviously has a lot of power. It's rocking her wrist back, and it functioned flawlessly, even though it was ported. So yeah, she, over the course of 7 hours, I couldn't even tell you how many handguns she shot. Not a single one malfunctioned in her hands, except for the G49. So my rebuttal is, let's do the math there. Also, she is a Glock shooter. She's been shooting Glocks since she was 15. She's been carrying Glocks her entire adult life. She's never once had a limp wrist malfunction out of any of them. So I would say that was an unreasonable threshold for a malfunction with the G49, the 19 length recoil spring assembly on the G17 slide with a dot. That's something that they should have tested and known wasn't going to work. We expect even perfection from Glock.
I've never seen an issue of running like an acro on a Glock 17 or Glock 19. So I don't know. Now I know the 49 is the same as the 47, where it has like, let me just grab a Glock 1 second.
In the meantime, enjoy this Performance Center 357 Magnum 586 L Comp. 7-shot, cut for moon clips, with a beautiful action job by Nelson Ford.
You're doing your obligatory ad.
Exactly.
Paying the bills. So, like, this is a Glock 17. This is the length. And then this is the only 19 length thing I had nearby. But you can see the compensators here. And that's kind of how the 49 and the 47 are, where there's more slide, but the same amount of recoil spring, kind of like a 34. And so I'm assuming maybe that's where the issue comes from.
Yeah.
Where you have more slide than recoil spring, and it's not that little extra weight. I don't know. It doesn't make sense what that would be causing that. I mean, it could just be because it's a display gun and it's been shot a lot. And the spring, I mean, who knows? Maybe that gun's had, 50,000 rounds through it.
Well, you would also think that the spring would lighten up and then it would function if it had that many rounds through it. Because it looked like the spring was too heavy.
Okay. Because, I mean, sometimes I know with Glocks, you're once you get to like the 50,000 round mark or so, that's when normally you have to replace your recoil spring.
That's true.
And maybe so it being shot a lot, being, finger fucked a lot at a lot of shows, maybe that, because the 49 isn't that new. So yeah, but I don't know. It just seems it's probably a lemon, probably a bad part.
Yeah. And I also do want to point out that the rep was said like, oh yeah, we've been having problems with this all morning. And I don't know what's wrong with the spring, but clearly, we need to take a look at that.
Yeah. And you'd think what they'd have on hand is like a parts kit. Like, especially Glock. Glock is the easiest gun. I could, with one tool, I could take apart this entire gun.
Yep.
Right? In like 4 minutes. and change out every part if it needed to be changed. So you'd think they'd have an entire spare parts kit for all their guns, so they could go in, change out recoil springs, especially their flagship gun. They'd have the parts to quickly swap some. Like, that's, to me, I love Glock. I am apparently, most of my comment section thinks I'm paid by Glock. I wish. So, for me to say that, there was a problem. But no, it was really disgusting to see. Like I said, I don't mind if someone has a problem, and I don't really care what people say about me. But I hate when people kind of like totally shit on my friends, not for like, okay, it didn't work because this reason. It just didn't work because you suck. And it's like, that's not a conversation. There's nothing productive there. You're just being an asshole.
Oh, and you should see what the YouTube filter picked up, and like YouTube will just not even let the nasty stuff through.
Yeah.
It just, you hit post and it goes into nothing.
Yep.
But people got so creative that stuff slipped through, but it still got caught in the held for review.
Yeah.
And just the horrible, vile, disgusting, nasty things that were said about me and my wife over a Glock malfunctioning. Like, you would think that I got caught supporting gun control or something.
Yeah.
And this rage mob just completely came after me. So at some point, I'm a pro Second Amendment young person with an interest in guns. Just because a Glock malfunctioned, for whatever reason, that is just so horrible that people would come in and start saying those kinds of things.
No, and it's sad that like the community has devolved to that at this point. You'd really wish that people would kind of be a little more mature on stuff. But let's get back to went a little bit tangent. Let's get back to SHOT Show. We said our best and our worst kind of everything. But what are like a couple things that you're gonna want to pick up for your channel? I know you've kind of made videos on it and talked about it, but we can kind of go back and forth a little bit, kind of talk about some stuff. Yeah,
definitely the Lipsies J-frame, Smith & Wesson, the ultimate carry J-frame. It's basically like the final last magnum opus version of the J-frame. They deleted the Hillary hole, or the internal lock, for those of you who don't know. And they have proper grips on there. Nice VZ grips you can get a full firing grip on, but they're not huge. Perfect for carry. And they put real sights on there, which is a huge deal for a J-frame. But the biggest deal is they're releasing it in 38 Special and in 32 H&R Magnum, which, in order to get a gun chambered in that, you had to, hit the used market. They were hard to find. This is going to be the resurgence of 32 H&R. And just to just to oversimplify 32 H&R Magnum, it's a little smaller, so they can fit 6 rounds in a J-frame instead of 5. And the hotter 32 H&R Magnum rounds are pretty darn close to a 38 Special. It's a lot like comparing 9mm versus, like 40 Smith & Wesson.
The 32 H&R and this the 357.
It should be, yeah. Okay. So it's almost as good as 38 with less recoil and higher capacity. That's essentially the logic.
Okay. Yeah. Interesting. I don't know what that bullet is.
Classic Nagant round. Let's go.
Oh yeah. Oh, the Nagant revolver.
Yeah.
See, I know nothing about revolvers, but I just wanted to pull that up because I had no idea what you're talking about.
And you can actually shoot those 32 Smith & Wesson longs in there too.
Okay.
So like that would be like the 38 Special equivalent to like 357 Magnum.
Is it like the diameter of 32 ACP, just really long, basically?
Close enough. Yeah.
Okay.
Pretty much. To oversimplify.
In layman's terms.
Yes. In layman's terms,
okay.
Yes.
So
yeah, they can fit that 6th round in there, and there are a lot of 32 H&R Magnum nerds out there that are just so stoked about this. I'll probably get one in 38 Special. Now, I think it's really cool. I'd like to have both, to be honest, but I have so much 38 Special ammo that's just what I'm going to get.
Now, I'm assuming, do you need 2 separate guns? Can you swap out the cylinders?
2 separate guns. Okay. Swapping out the cylinders would be complicated for most people, especially with fitment and timing.
Is the round the same size as 357 or is the round different so the barrel wouldn't even work?
I don't think the barrel would work.
Okay.
I think that would probably be a bad idea. Yeah, that we should have just started with that.
Exploding gun.
Yeah, probably just not do that, actually.
So what else? So I can't really talk much about revolvers because I just know how to shoot them. That's about it.
So another one that shocked me, because I still haven't done my Walther PDP review. It got kind of complicated because I sold the gun halfway through the review because someone really wanted it. I couldn't say no. So I'm now my buddy has one. So I don't know. I'm working on the PDP review. That being said, I'm not the biggest PDP fan. I think it's fine. Again, I hope no TSOS people are in here. I say a gun is fine, and it's like I killed their sister. But it's the PDP is fine. I think it's a good gun. The steel frame PDP compact. I'd shot the full size steel frame, but not the compact steel frame. I don't know what it is about that combination of the weight and the slide length of the compact. The return to zero was just instant and incredible, and it just really vibed with me. So I'm 100% picking up one of those. I can't believe I'm saying this, but I really loved that PDP.
Yeah, I'm no PDP fan either. My videos, all the proof you need. I felt it. It felt like a PDP. I didn't get to shoot it. I didn't get to go to range day. Um, it just felt like another PDP. There was really nothing exciting for me at the Walther booth. And so, but the full size one, did you shoot the full size steel frame or just the compact?
I had shot the full size prior. Like I have a client shooting instruction that has one, and I shot that one, and it does still kind of have that same PDP like ka-chunk feel,
Yeah.
right? But this the compact with that slide length was just like snapping right back into place. I
Maybe the
felt
way
like I
it's
could
sprung.
run it. I could run it really fast.
Now, you put a DPM spring in the PDP
Yeah,
when you reviewed it. Did that seem to clean it up a little bit?
it did. I think that the two best kits DPM Systems makes, which if you don't know, DPM recoil reduction systems, they make recoil spring assemblies that are a progressive spring system. They do sponsor my channel. I reviewed them before they ever did that, so that review is unbiased. But the Beretta 92 kits and the Walther PDP kits are the two most efficient kits they make, because the Walther PDP is really light on the bottom and chunky on top, and it has a stepped chamber. And with that step chamber, it's increasing muzzle velocity by like 30 feet per second, like 20 to 30 feet per second, but it is giving it a little more snap. The DPM system cushions that snap and just makes it much softer and flatter shooting. So putting that in the steel frame PDP compact, I think is going to be insane. If on top of that you ported it or put a comp on there, we're talking like extremely flat and soft shooting pistol. I'm excited to play with it.
I'm interested to see. Anything else that you saw that I know I'm kind of putting you on the spot here?
Yeah, no, the Nemo Arms Mongoose I thought was super dope. I don't know if you made it over to their booth.
I did not. But let's see if I can find it.
So like every single PCC is the straight blowback design. This has a short recoil operating system, and the barrel actually like moves back and forth, like chunk, 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 chunk. So
like that, like Olympus Arms, their AR-10.
Right, very similar to that. So this thing in 9mm, it takes CZ Scorpion pattern magazines. So they had the Magpul CZ Scorpion mags. The fact that it's not straight blowback, the fact that it's short recoil operating is going to make this thing like, 9mm PCCs have no recoil.
Yeah.
This is going to just be insanely flat. And it comes with a compensator on there that acts as a standoff device because the barrel does move. So if you need to push it into something, it won't send it out of battery because the barrel moves, and it acts as a compensator. So you have a comp, the short recoil system. Yeah, I think overall, this is the PCC that I'm excited for.
Yeah, I'm not a big PCC guy.
Yeah, me neither.
Just because, honestly, I find PCCs have more recoil than standard AR-15s.
Yeah.
Because just the way 9mm recoils versus 5.56, 5.56 does not recoil much.
Yeah.
And, other than the MP5, which I absolutely despise the MP5 because of its ergonomics, most guns, if they're not roller delayed or have some sort of like, there's a new company that's making a ball bearing delayed ones at SHOT Show. I forget who it was.
Yeah, I forget, but yeah.
So there's some interesting PCC stuff. And then Daniel, maybe is it Daniel's that's ball bearing delayed?
That sounds right. Yeah, I think it's
Daniel. Daniel has a PCC. They were telling me about it. That has, because in another event I ran into a Daniel rep. You're saying it's going to take CZ mags.
Yes.
And I think it's ball bearing delayed.
Yep. And it is straight blowback. So that was kind of like the groan, like another straight blowback PCC. Yeah. But this Nemo Arms looks really promising. But the other thing that I can't not mention here is Radian Weapons with their Radian Ramjet afterburner compensator for the P365 series of guns. Hands down, it was the best shooting thing, with the exception of the Laugo Alien with the gas pedal on it, was the best shooting thing at SHOT Show.
Let's see if we can find the. Well, actually, here's the. I could just use your own video.
Yeah, there you go.
Here's the Nemo. Here's the revolver you're talking about.
Yep, that's the Ultimate J frame.
There's the PDP still frame.
Yep.
The platypus.
Platypus. I think it was in between the platypus and the.
Yes.
Yep.
So this is the Radiant. I got to mess around with it, just dry fire, like setting it in a range day. I'm also no fan of the macro. We've both reviewed the macro. And tell me about it. What did you think about it? Does it redeem the macro from the kind of okay carry gun that rusts?
Oh, I'm buying a macro because of this. And like, I want it so bad, I'll probably have the slide refinished so it doesn't rust. Now, granted, I do think the rusting thing is a batch thing. I think most macros don't rust. I think some do. And I especially the trigger shoes, my God, like I can't tell you how many I've seen in cases at gun stores with a purple trigger shoe because of the surface rust. But that being said, I like this so much. I'm going to get this exact setup that you see here. I'm probably also going to get like an XL grip frame and a standard grip frame just to swap around. This shot so well. So this actually runs better than the Glock Afterburner, in my opinion, because they actually made the ports on the compensator bigger, wider. This thing is so loud, but it is so flat. So you're taking this snappy little gun and turning it into a flat shooting monster. And if it's anything like the Glock Ramjet Afterburner from Radian, it is going to be 100% reliable. Toss a DPM system in there, you are going to have, you're going to have just an absolute thin concealed carry, just shredding monster in your pants.
No, I like the feel of it. I mean, I still, to me, it's gotten to the point where I'm just not a fan of the slimmer guns.
Yeah,
like
that's where I'm at.
Need like the surface area this way to like grip. Like the thinner guns, just it's weird. Like this fills my hand, or hell, even like this SIG. Like at least it's thick enough.
Yeah.
But if you want the thinner guns, it seems like the right improvements.
Yeah, well, the trade-off with the thinner guns is that they're punchier, right? Yeah. Like even the Glock 43X, Glock 48. So you look at the G48 versus the G19. The G48 is just punchier. Like people don't like to admit that, but it is. You shoot them side by side. It's just a punchier, snappier gun. They're mitigating that trade-off with the P365 Ramjet Afterburner. Is you toss it on there and it takes out the snap completely. Not only does it take out the snap, it turns it into shooting like a competition gun without sacrificing reliability. And if you tune a DPM system to that, it's just going to ensure superior reliability even with the comp.
Now I saw they had their 17 length Afterburner as well, and it looks like those ports are bigger as well.
They might be.
So because I was looking at it, because it looks like they were bigger because they had a 19 one there, and it looked like they made the ports bigger in general. So I wonder if they're moving to that as well.
Oh, I would say that's a good move.
Bigger ports.
Yeah.
I like the idea of a 17 Afterburner because then they'll bring it to like a Glock 34 length, and
yeah, if you have an X300 on there anyways, then it works.
Yes,
yeah.
But no, Radian's definitely brings some cool stuff. I think people forget how small Radian actually is.
Oh, they're tiny shop.
Like they're not like, because they used to be AXTS. Sorry, I'm dying. They used to be AXTS.
Yeah.
I think I still have one of the old AXTS charging handles somewhere.
Yep.
But now they're Radian. They just rebranded, and but they're still a smaller shop. So people I see people going like, "Oh my God, where's their stuff?" Like I remember they had that giveaway,
right,
for the Radian thing. I was trying to get on that, and their website died. It was dead. You just couldn't, like, some people were able to use the codes, but you could get the codes. You weren't able to use them because I was like, "Oh, I'll finally get a free one." No, it didn't work.
Well, I was talking to the Radian guys. One, they're tooling up to be able to better meet demand. It takes time, right? But they have more machines. Number two, I didn't realize this. They are so strict about quality control. They will blem an entire kit over the smallest thing. That's why Black Friday they were selling at like midnight the blem Ramjet Afterburners, and people got them in. They're like, "Wait, I don't even know what's wrong with this," because they are that strict with their quality control. So they're picky about quality control, and they're a small shop. So it's one of those things you have to bear with them. But once you get one, like, you have gold.
Yeah, because it's like, somewhere like a company like SIG, they are a very big shop with very poor quality control.
Yeah.
So you have no idea what you're getting if this thing's going to work or not.
Something else I want to shout out Radian for doing is the Guardian. A lot of people gave them crap about the Guardian, which that is the optic mount that has the guard on the outside of it. They originally released it for the RMR and the EPS, two extremely durable sights. I like it for the actual mount. If you're stuck with an MOS Glock, God forbid, this is the best plate, period. Remove the guard from it. It's the best plate that you can get. That being said, with the guard on it, it seemed kind of like wasted space. Now they're offering it for the 507 comp. And the 507 comp is, one, my favorite red dot currently. Huge window. The only problem is the glass bulges a little bit past the housing. So if you rack it off of something hard, like Hunter Constantine in his torture test, racked it off of a plate rack and it just shattered the glass. So that Guardian that they're making for the 507 comp is like a godsend for that sight because it's durable in every other way. It's just that little bulge past, and that Guardian is going to protect that. So they're going to start rolling out the
Remember
Guardian
what day
line.
of shot? I remember seeing it in your video. Remember what day it was?
That would have been day 2.
Okay, let me see if I can find it. Pull it up.
Because every other Guardian, it's a great
There we
mounting
go.
system. You just don't really need the guard part of it. But yeah, right there, that 507 comp with that guard is just turns that sight into, in my opinion, the best sight ever. It removes its only weakness.
So, well, that's the thing is, like, I always thought it was kind of a gimmick on the EPS and the like RMR and stuff.
Yeah.
But on an optic like that, I'd like to see an SRO one as well.
Yeah, the only problem with the SRO is you're adding overhang to the overhang. So
That's true.
they're kind
Yeah,
of stuck.
can't do that.
It's honestly on Trijicon from just making that crappy overhang design.
Yeah, I don't
because
know what, like, it's like, and there's like some optics that have some overhang, but that's like
Yeah.
it's like a whole school bus worth.
It's insane. Now that I'm actually going to do an update video soon on dots, because after running so many for so long, I originally thought the RMR HD was my favorite dot all around. It has become the 507 comp. Unless you want something that you can rack off of like a steel bar, the 507 comp, in my opinion, is just the most effective red dot for out of the holster work, period.
No, I've yet to shoot them. I've messed around with them, but the massive window, I'm testing another optic with a massive window right now. It's just like I obviously can do fine with just like your basic window size, but the fact that you never lose your dot, with these bigger optics, is just
and
fantastic.
Like something that other people don't think about, and I wish I would have mentioned this in my 507 comp review, is if you need to shoot from a weird position, you can pick like you present really weird like this. You have a bigger window, and maybe that dot's in the corner, and you get your hit. So now, granted, let's just remind people, you do not need a dot. Like, you don't need one. It's a small advantage if you learn how to use it. So this is for the people who want to get every advantage that they can, and they want to learn the dot out of the holster. It's a small advantage. I think it's a significant advantage because when things get hectic and you get that tunnel vision like this, it allows you that target focused precision that maybe you would have lost your irons if in that adrenaline situation. So
Yeah,
but people have been clapping people with irons for a long time. So
no, I mean, I find dots are just superior in the only obviously is like the durability aspect, but with like enclosed emitters like this, like I've had this thing for years and I've never had a single issue with it. So I think we're at the point where red dots aren't a future thing; it's a now thing.
Yeah, I agree.
Speaking of red dots, did you see any optics or accessories or anything like that at the show that you thought were interesting? Something that wasn't a firearm?
Yeah, the HoloSun night vision or thermal optic for pistols. It was finicky. It wasn't working very well, but it was also, they literally got it the morning of shot, like last second. And it was the first one that they got in. So literally they had never seen it before, and they get it in the morning of shot. So there was lots of battery changes. They had 4 of them. All 4 were down like all day. I had to go back
around with them, and I couldn't figure out how it worked.
I had to go back several times until I finally got it. And here's the thing: it's not something that I would use. I think it's exciting to see them moving that direction in the industry with that kind of technology. I can't wait to see what the Generation 5 version of that optic looks like. So it's cool to see the baby step headed in a really neat direction.
No, I also like they have the SCS carry was cool.
I'm just a whore for huge windows now, so I struggle to get excited about anything that doesn't just have a giant window.
Yes, giant windows are an advantage, that's for sure. No, that and the they have the PIDK, so it's like the TLR7 size basically, but it has 1,000 lumens.
Yeah.
Because like I used to carry the TLR7. I've gone back to the X300 because I actually want output, and to me the TLR7 just doesn't have enough output as opposed to the X300. So that's interesting to me. I do want to talk about one thing that happened at SHOT Show. I was not there for it. I think it was one of the last days. I don't know. But essentially, so this is what happened.
Yeah, and they're like yelling. Obviously there's no audio, but they're like yelling.
Yeah. And so that happened by the Cloud Defensive Agency Arms booth, which I actually saw some cool stuff there. We can touch on that. But that I think was probably the dumbest thing I saw at SHOT Show. I wasn't there for it. I think that would happen day 5 or 4 on Friday. I don't know when it happened, but I
Yeah, I
wasn't
don't
there
know,
when it happened.
but I don't know. I think that it was probably poor judgment. I also don't think it's like the end of the world. You
It's not
know?
the end of the world, but it was like it also looks really bad on the industry as well
Yeah.
when you're doing stuff like that.
Yeah, for
Like
me, you know, you're at SHOT Show and let's say you don't know what's going on because they didn't give anybody a heads up that they were going to be doing
yeah,
that skit, and you hear the yelling like that and you turn around and you know someone's forcing someone on the ground with a gun.
yeah,
It can get your attention in the wrong way.
yeah,
So I just think it was poor judgment. I don't think it was the end of the world, but people have gotten in trouble for a lot less at SHOT Show by the
yeah.
NSSF. So
Yes, the NSSF. I will say the NSSF is like I don't want to say they're anti-gun, but like they're not. They're no better than like the NRA in
they
reality.
skirt the line. They try to play to the mainstream. They try to. It's one of those things. They try to remain reasonable to the people who hate them. And
Because they're idiots.
well, I think that it's strategy on their part, not necessarily strategy I agree with, but strategy that you know maybe the people that are running it know better than me. But I certainly disagree.
No, I think it's the same. It's a common theme on the right side of the aisle where people worry more about what the people who hate them are going to say than the people who like them.
Yeah,
Because the issue is we're just too nice to the people that we like.
in general,
Is
yeah,
in general is like we will give far more shit to BLM or Planned Parenthood or whatever than we'll ever give to the NRA, which is where we should be giving all our shit because, and I think the NRA slowly over time kind of been lost its standing in the 2A community because like everyone's celebrating when Wayne LaPierre left, although I doubt it'll get any better. But the NSSF is no better. Like, why are we going to a very anti-gun building,
yep,
right? The Venetian, right? There's only one place that I know of that is pro-gun in Las Vegas, and it's Trump Tower.
true, yeah,
I wanted to say Trump Tower, but it's just way too far of a walking distance from the
it's really
Venetian.
far, yeah,
So I wanted to walk, so I stayed at the Paris. But they're all anti-gun. While I was staying at the Paris, I found the evidence that someone went through our room. Like that was a little bit spooky. Like someone went in a room. What's weird is they put a charging stand in our room, like one of those like phone QI chargers. Like because we'd unplugged the alarm clock so we could plug in our phone charger. We come back and there's a Caesars branded QI phone charger in the room where the alarm clock was. Very weird. So I don't know.
yeah.
Maybe it's their way, like their spy device in the room is the alarm clock, and if you unplug it, they replace it with something. I have no idea. But it's like why and like you can't carry at SHOT Show, right?
Right. Well,
A
you're not supposed to.
you're not supposed. We can leave it at that.
It's gun free zone.
It's a gun free zone. It's like when you go to a gun show and they don't let you conceal carry at gun shows.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, fuck off. I'm not coming. Like that's the thing. It's like I only went to SHOT Show because of the event it is, but it's like SHOT Show should be in like Texas or Florida or like a pro 2A state. It should
Yeah.
not be like Nevada's not anti 2A, but Vegas is not pro 2A. Like it should be in a
Yeah.
more pro 2A location. It should be at like a pro 2A convention center. Instead,
Yep.
we're giving money to people that hate us, and we're giving business to an area that hates freedom. Right?
Yeah.
Las Vegas is not a pro freedom area, at least the Strip. All those hotel companies hate the Second Amendment. So that to me, that's the dumbest part of SHOT Show is the NSSF.
Yep. And I mean, I think it makes sense why they still continue to hold it in Vegas, because it's a great place to party, right? And when you're striking up business deals, you know, and you're buying thousands upon thousands of pews, sometimes that happens in pretty seedy places. So people like to party, and Vegas is a good place to party. So I get that's why they do it. I'm not a partier. I don't even drink. So
Yep.
that's why I just spent all my time learning everything I could, making connections, and then at night I was just editing video. So
Yeah, SHOT Show is a lot more business than I think people realize.
yeah,
So I know you have a time frame, and from what I understand, unfortunately, our other guest of the night probably will not be joining us. So it looks like it was just a 2-man podcast tonight. So we will start to wrap it up. Brett, what was your biggest takeaway from SHOT Show? Biggest thing, one lasting impression that you're like, I'm gonna think about this for like a year or something.
my lasting impression from SHOT Show is that everything that was announced was pretty lame. And at the end of the day, if a handgun is reliable and goes bang, that's all that matters. But for nerds like us, it's a playground, even when it's a lame showing.
Yes.
So it was a good time. I will be going back. A lot of people enjoyed the coverage, and that's why I'm going to be going back. I kind of just do what the subscribers want to see. So overall, good experience. I'm glad people enjoyed the coverage.
So yeah, I will definitely be going back as well. Brett, where can people find you, subscribe to you, stalk you, all that good stuff?
It's going to be Nightwood Guns on YouTube and Nightwood Guns on Instagram. Shadow banned on there, but I chill there sometimes. So
Oh yeah, I found out the other day because I was connecting with people at SHOT Show, and when they went to follow me, it would say, "Are you sure you want to follow this person? They've been labeled as producing or sending out misinformation or something." I'm like,
exactly.
What did I do?"
Yep. Just post a picture of a gun. That's all it takes.
But yeah, guys, thank you for watching. This is our first show of the new year. We're gonna try and get more guests, cooler guests for the rest of the year. Not that Brett isn't cool,
Pretty
but
cool.
at least more than one person. But unfortunately, that's how tonight's show turned out. We wanted to get a SHOT Show episode out for you guys. So head in those comments. Let us know what you thought of SHOT Show. Were you there? Did you see something at SHOT Show that was cool, whether it was through a video that you saw or there at SHOT Show? And what were you disappointed with at SHOT Show? Is it the NSF's anti-gun support and somewhat anti-gun policies? Was it the gimmicks that you saw? Was it the deep fryer for your handgun? Let us know in those comments down below. Otherwise, guys, like, subscribe, and stay tuned.